That was still very loud.
Wonderful. I got it and it was like really quiet. It's crazy.
Yeah, mine was also quiet.
Really? Okay, mine was blasting still.
I
Oh,
don't know. Maybe it's
Anyway,
the device.
anyway. And by like loudness, we're talking about Zoom yelling at us that I started recording us. But welcome back, everybody. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm one of your co-hosts, Christopher, and I'm going to pass it to Tochi to introduce themselves. And we have a new guest.
Hello. My name is Tochi and I go by he, she, and they pronouns.
And Danny, can you introduce yourself?
yes, I can. Hi, my name's Daniela. I tend to go by Danny on the team though. And I use she, they pronouns. And I am a part of the social media team.
Beautiful. We were supposed to have another person, here with you
Yup.
to defend yourself, answering all these questions. That person is Selena. You can like hit her up on social media. She's added on our Instagram all the time, so you can just hit her up for not being in this episode. But anyway, let's go ahead and kind of dive into a little bit about what you do, and kind of like what you've been working on.
So just what I do and what I've been working on.
Yeah.
Okay, well, as I mentioned, I am part of the social media team, so I am primarily doing stuff revolving around our social media. Um, I think Selena tends to take more of the making of like formatting and like announcements of like upcoming podcasts and things like that. And I'm more of the like series and working through like making series for the Instagram account. Like currently I am like finishing up a series on sexual assault awareness, which is like an issue that getting on like the creative minds like team I was like really passionate about and really happy to be working on something in regards to that. And following that up, I'm probably going to be working on something in regards to performing arts and the lack thereof in our school systems, especially with like public schooling. As like that's also something I'm really passionate about. I've been playing music for like what 10 years now. So I've seen that kind of like happen, or there not be enough music or arts in general in schools. So, getting to talk about issues that I'm really passionate about is, I think, my main thing on the social media team. But yeah.
Cool. So I guess we can kind of dive right into the Q&A before we get into your guys's like weird rants. It's your like, oh God.
Oh, it would be the same without Selena, but
I
I'll do my
know.
best.
So kind of this is like the big first question, and this goes for both of you. What does it feel like to be a content creator?
Who goes first? Who answers first?
I could go first, I guess. I mean, I've had Instagram for like 2 years, but I mean, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of subjective what a content creator is. Like, if you mean just like posting things, because like anybody can be a content creator then. Like, you could have one follower and you're posting, and that's a content creator.
Right.
So, like, I don't know what kind of, I mean, like, it's a good question, but it's also like confusing
Yeah.
because like anybody can be a content creator. Like, babe, if you have an Instagram account and you made one post, you're a content creator.
Yeah,
So
literally.
I don't know. It feels good, I guess. Like, I mean, like, it's kind of like super not personal at all. Like, it's kind of like, what does it feel like to make content? I guess is the question. But I mean, I like making content. It just kind of depends on like what it is and like what I'm doing and like if it's begrudgingly or not. Like, if I'm like not really wanting to do it and I just have to do it, like, duh, I'm not gonna be like happy about it. Kind of like with any job, I guess. But it's much different than like traditional stuff where you like have to do it constantly. I think it depends on like what type of content creator you are, because it's very like vague and like broad.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I think just being on like the media team is just really fun, like content creator for like the studio, just like that's how I interpreted the question. Like, how does it feel to be a content creator for the studio specifically? Which personally I found it to be really fun. especially because when I started, it was just like me and Selena on the team. So
Yeah.
it was just like two people, and we would kind of like bounce ideas off each other, come up with like random concepts that we would kind of throw at you that weren't even like part of the social media team. But then like within all of that, we were still like making content that was that, within like the bounds of what the studio like focuses on. So like, spreading out information and bringing out more educational stuff for people who may not have that. And I think in that aspect, it's really fun also because it's not necessarily things that like everyone else is talking about, but things that we personally like feel connected to. Like for the projects I mentioned, like those are two things that one I'm really connected to and like happy to talk about, and to like I'm happy to like talk about them to other people. So I think it's really fun, and like being a studio like creator, it's not really something I've done before, or like outside of like a school like atmosphere. So doing it for like an organization, like student led type of thing is actually like really fun.
Right. So I have a follow-up question to that. And this, I believe that this applies to both of you.
Mm.
How does it feel? How does it feel to be kind of like creating content for the studio compared to like creating content for like school, if that makes sense?
Do you want
Um,
to take that first or me?
yeah, I could do it. Thank
Okay.
you. I feel like it's much different because with schools, like you can't really call anything out. You can't really talk about any issues, to be honest. And if you do talk about an issue like surrounding the school, they either like make it really legal because they don't want to get sued, or like they don't want like to seem like they're violating your rights publicly.
Yeah.
So it's like harder to be fully open when it comes to like posting for like a school that like specifically the one that I go to, at least, because like they're so like caught up on like making themselves seem like they care about immigrants and like they care about like people of color. And even though like it's mostly people of color, it's people of color being racist to each other like within my school. So it's not really like, it's really fake. Like
Yeah.
it's not authentic at all. And it's kind of like we had an anti-racism panel, and it was not even about anti-racism. They were talking around anti-racism, and it was really
Why?
awkward because literally one person, they were talking to like mainly cishet like Mexican kids that were like half white and like mainly white presenting, and like it was
Oh,
Just cut out.
oh. Okay. Well,
Um,
we're gonna chug on because Dochi cut out Danny.
but you're only
oh.
bringing what happened?
You cut out. You cut out
Oh,
for like
sorry.
a little bit there.
I always imagine what it feels like to be like listening to the episode and not watching it on YouTube, and then you're like, "What the fuck just happened?
Like, yeah, what is going on right now?
Like, why the
What's
fuck is it
supposed to
dead
happen?
silent in my ear
Wait, when did it cut out?
after the anti-racist panel?"
Bro, I said
So
so much after that. No. Okay, let me sum it up. Real quick. Like, was I just frozen? Or
you
was
said
it like
something. You said something about authenticity, and I was like, "Key value."
no, I'm saying, was I frozen, or like was my screen black, or like
Oh,
what
no, you
was
were
that?
straight up
We were
frozen.
like frozen. Like I could hear like some
Some?
like sounds like
No.
I heard
Yeah.
I heard like a sprinkle of sounds in there, but we could not make out what you said like at all.
Oh my god. Okay, so basically I was saying that like you can't really be authentic because they don't give that much representation, and the representation that they do give is like
Right.
super fake.
Right.
Like it's just, like someone that's like 75% white and like 25% Mexican being like, guys, our principal cares about immigrants. Literally like the whole panel, to be honest. And it was just like really awkward. So like being able to like be authentic here and like actually talk about issues that
Right.
like we hear is like very important, especially when it comes from like people of color that actually like are people of color, instead of like, I don't know, because I don't know what that was at my school. I don't want to talk about that as much because it's just so confusing and it makes no sense, because they were describing anti-racism as having people of color as friends. Like that's not what anti-racism is, babe. It's not. Like literally one of the kids was like, I think he's cishet, by the way. he was like, I think that anti-racism is like having friends that are different colors. I was like, bro, that's just integration.
So what you're telling me is he pulled the I have one black friend card and
He called it a day.
he just rephrased it. Goodbye. I think
Yeah.
what's really
So it's
go
just,
ahead.
yeah, it's
No,
just
go
really
ahead.
cool. Like I can actually be authentic here instead of like walking or like bouncing around everything. So like I don't get sued. Or like maybe I'm just for being like gay and like black and Latino at the same time, because apparently that's a felony or something here. But yeah.
What's really interesting is that one of the like keywords, I immediately like lit up like a Christmas tree before you froze when you said authenticity.
I saw
it. I was like, fuck. I wanted to like, I really enjoy that we can kind of be like really honest about like our struggles of being a student and like, kind of things that are kind of taboo to talk about when we are at school, like failing an exam or having like balancing working and going to school or not knowing how the fuck to apply to college, or even like feeling like guilty just about the grading system and all that shit. And then of course, I'm not even going to enrope like racism and all that shit because that's already, we don't even need to talk about it. It's just there. So I think it's just really nice that this is like in everything that we do, it's just authentic. Like literally, we won't even cut out the fact, we're not even going to cut out Tochi just like immediately going like this. We're not going to cut that out, like, because it's hilarious. I'm not cutting that out. There's no way.
Fair. I respect that.
There's no way. Yeah. Anyway,
it has to like stay there. I feel like for me, it's like different in the sense that I feel like a lot less pressure, I guess, doing things for the studio than for my school. Because I personally, like at least at my like where I go to school, it's very like student led, because the part of like their whole like thing is you're raising leaders. So they pretty much leave everything to us to like figure out. So like we are the ones that are in charge of like setting up the like, presentations or like assemblies. Like I'm one of the main like leads for like setting up or like assemblies that talk about our like all of these issues. So they're kind of more on the sidelines watching us and letting us do what we need to do. Of course, if there's like something that they see as like a problem or anything, they'll like bring it up to us and be like, you might want to like take this into consideration. But it's not a super like, no, you can't talk about this, you can't talk about that, and you can't talk about this either. Like, no, they're pretty open with letting us do things like that. But I feel like with the studio, it feels a lot more personalized, I guess. I don't know. To me, at least, it's like felt like I'm just talking like about something that I'm genuinely passionate about and like that I genuinely want to talk about, because I can like feel free to like, be authentic and actually talk about these things. Whereas like at school, it always feels like it has to like at least fit in or like be talked about for a reason, if that makes sense. Like there's certain times where it's like, okay, it's like Black History Month, so now you're like allowed to talk about all of this stuff. It's like Hispanic Heritage Month, so now you're allowed to talk about all of this stuff. Or like if I try to talk about Hispanic heritage or like, Black History Month at any point that wasn't February or September, they'd be like, it doesn't really fit in. Like if you might want to like save it for those other months, which like I guess is like their way of kind of like keeping it organized in a way. But I like that with like the studio, there isn't that, and you can just kind of feel free to talk about issues whenever, and it doesn't really have to fit in like a certain agenda or anything, like time frame, things like that.
And on that note, I do want to say, like, I did not tell Danny or Tochi to like only talk about good things about the studio. I'm not like only say good things. That's not what I'm doing. I need to disclaim that, because there's gonna be someone commenting being like, Christopher told them to say all this. I don't want that to happen.
Blink twice. You should blink twice for being hot.
I think you froze again. I'm so sorry.
Just blink twice for help. Danny's sitting there like,
that's why I froze. Y'all made me freeze. Y'all made me freeze.
It happened again. No.
Oh God.
Um,
Anyway,
Anywho,
with
move
that being
past
said,
this.
um,
It's like
this
not
is
coming back. Oh, there they
Bruh.
are.
with that being said, here's the next question. Um, what is one challenging thing about being a social media content creator? And this is specifically for Danny and Selena, if she was here.
Well, if Selena was here, I'm sure she could have a little more of a say in this. But I feel like for me, what I have found to be like most challenging is like keeping things cohesive. Within like, because I mainly do like Instagram feed things, right? And so prior to like getting on like the studio, I was very used to whenever I did like my social media work or like any of my marketing quote unquote type of things for like clubs or like stuff at school, or even like things out of school when I would make like flyers, it was always like a me thing and like whatever I thought would look nice is what like goes up and like no one else has literally had a say in it. Like I would maybe show it to like two people, be like, do you like this? And no one would really be like, no, I hate it, it's horrible. So it just kind of like goes out. But like in the studio like atmosphere and doing social media for us, it's I feel like it's more like a collective type of thing. Like when I came in, I had like a theme to work with, right? There was like these color, like there's a color scheme, there's like a general like flower type of thing that like goes on in some of them. And like I think taking that and trying to like incorporate it has been like my biggest challenge with doing social media for the studio. Just, you know, getting my like own like style of editing and like creating flyers and posts to shine through while still like maintaining the, you know, the color palettes and all the different things that the studio had before I joined, because I wasn't like, you know, originally here. I joined while you guys were already doing your thing. So I think that's definitely one of the hardest parts. And then I feel like coming up with ideas isn't entirely difficult because I do have like my things that I'm passionate about.
Mhm.
But I think it's executing them in the way that I want them to be executed is like the hardest part. Because like I can have an idea, but then I have to like sit there and figure out how to like format the post and like, is it gonna be a series? Is it gonna be just one individual post? Like, what do I want this to look like? Is it gonna be like a TikTok? Like I think like we're now working on like a magazine type of thing. Like it's like all these different things that like come into play when like trying to bring the idea to life. And I think that's also like a difficult part just in general with social media, like
Yeah.
creating, like I guess that's not studio specific. So yeah, those are like one studio specific and then one not entirely studio specific thing. Yeah.
Tochi, if you want to answer the same question, but just like, you know, for an editor on the podcast team.
Could you like re-ask it
Yes.
because
Yeah, because you definitely weren't frozen.
Yeah, no,
The
that's
question,
never happened.
so the question reads, what is one challenging thing about being a, you know, podcast editor? Boom.
I'm lagging out every like 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's
Like
pretty solid. I feel like I could really see that shine through in your work right now.
yeah, it kind of sucks being low income and not being able to pay for stuff like that. So,
That's fair.
but what's it
Uh,
called?
Oh, Selena,
there is no
you're
way.
lying. You're
There's
lying.
no way. Is she gonna be like at the nail salon and everything?
She is. There's no way she's not. So for folks who are, for folks who are just listening and not watching this on our YouTube channel, Selena dropped in like what, half an hour late, because she's getting her nails done.
Excuse me?
She's getting her nails done last minute.
That is not my fault.
Our podcast is so chaotic.
Okay. This is kind of funny. This is really fun.
Okay, I just want to move on because I want to get to like the good part of this episode.
They should let Selena and I'm on here more often. We're funny.
I want you guys to. Okay, so here's the next question. This is for everybody. I know this is gonna be kind of difficult for everybody to answer because like, you know, I want you to say only good things. But why did you join
You're
this?
listening. Chris just like put a gun up to the screen.
Oh my god, guys.
Fingers with his fingers, with his
Why?
fingers, with his fingers.
Okay,
But
here's the
I just want to
question.
make that clear.
I
Here's the
feel so
question.
threatened.
I'm sure you do. So
I'm a
here's
little bit
the question.
scared.
So here's the question. Why did you join the CMS team?
Oh, okay. Selena, do you want to go first or should I?
I have to think of something that's not too honest because Chris wanted to say he Chris made me, okay? He kind of like was like, Selena, you're joining. And I was like, oh,
Sounds
okay.
right. That
So
sounds
yeah,
right.
that's why I joined. But I love it here, so I guess I stayed for
Yeah,
that
she
reason.
loves me. She loves me. No one else. Just
Yeah.
She really does. Like every time I'm gonna like spoil some shit here, but like every time I have a one-on-one with Selena, she is literally always just ranting about how amazing you are, how hardworking you are. So yeah.
period. You know, I do that sometimes.
Or
But when I joined, I think I had like found out about the studio being a thing, like just in general, like a year before I actually joined. Because my friend was on like, I think she's on the creation team, like Celia, yeah.
yeah.
But she like brought it up to me, and I was like going through my own things at the time, so I was like, I'm not ready to like commit to like actually doing something else. But then I saw that you guys were like looking for people eventually, like a year later, and I was like, oh well, you know, maybe now I can do it. And I had seen, I think it was like the post I had seen like from you guys was about like blog team and like editors, and I was like, let me see what else is open because I want to do social media.
Yeah.
And I went through like the website and I found that there was like a position open for social media stuff.
Yeah.
So I immediately was like, yep, I want to do this because I've always done like social media things. I love being on social media. Like as weird as that sounds, I don't know. I feel like it sounds really funny, but I like being on social media and I like, you know, making like flyer type of things, like informational stuff. It's always been like something that I found to be fun because I just like looking at pretty colors and moving shapes around for like hours on end. So ma'am, Selena, ma'am.
I'm so sorry.
There's no goddamn way that we're watching you get a fucking pedicure right now. Get the fuck off this meeting. Get the fuck out.
Because I was like mid like thinking, and then I just hear like,
ma'am, get out.
Anyway.
Anyway.
So, I don't know. I just love like doing that type of thing. I think I'm always like, I've always been very artistic and stuff. So like I like making pretty things. And so that's kind of why I just wanted to do social media stuff. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. What about you, Tochi?
I joined because I had like, I think it's called Round Pier or something. I forgot because I deleted it. But it was on Round Pier. I don't know how it got on. Can y'all explain that? Because I'm confused.
I don't even know how it works.
Bro, like how did I find out Round Pier? Like literally how? Like because someone
Selena probably has something to do with it.
Bruja,
I had nothing to do with that.
I don't know, man. Finger may have slipped while getting a pedicure. Like finger slipped and like now it ended up somewhere else.
Oh my god.
You know, don't be mad that I'm here enjoying myself and doing self-care like everybody should do on a daily basis. And y'all are over there with some unwashed feet. Okay.
Excuse you?
Excuse me, hold on, because I'm gonna need you to run that back. Please repeat what you said.
Y'all are over there with some unwashed feet.
She said it with her whole chest too. I don't know how I feel about
Goodbye.
this.
You're done. You're actually done. I'm gonna like call Ashmi right now and be like, you're done for. Goodbye. Oh my god.
Yeah, I could call Ashmead on what you did the other day, Chris, too.
Goodbye. Anyway, so in the last couple of minutes, we got to get to kind of this like fucking crazy story. Let me give some context before Selena and Danny kind of like explain this opinion. Um, so the other day, or not the other day, the other week, I went into Selena's the social media team's breakout room to check in on them. And now, granted, they get their work done all the time. Like it's all their work is done on time, but they were having a full ass conversation about like how cable. I think it was like why do people still use cable? Because like Netflix and Hulu and shit exist. And I think Selena said something like only boomer parents watch cable. It was a really weird conversation, and they didn't know that I joined because we were using Google Meet at the time, and it doesn't make a sound when someone joins. So they didn't know that I joined. And then all I hear is, I think it was Danny that was like, oh shit. And she saw that I joined. And the look of them being busted was so fucking hilarious. And so now they're here to tell the same story, but also provide some perspective on their like just hatred of cable.
Okay, Selena, do you want to go first?
You know, that story is hilarious. Like, I
I
mean,
think
why?
it's like a really good representation of the social media team.
Yeah, it is because we get our work done, like Chris said, but there's just sometimes we get a little sidetracked, and then it turns into a podcast episode, and a little because you're part of the sidetracks and you bully us, the social media team.
Am I? Am I really?
He's holding a gun again.
Thank you. No, I'm not. What are you talking about? I'm completely serious all the time.
Put it away. I'm frightened.
I'm like very serious, even in our staff meetings. I actually don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, that's like saying our whole team is very serious 24/7.
True. Yeah.
It's a lie.
Ooh, goodbye.
Me when I lie.
I'm sorry, I have to pick my nail color, guys.
Oh. Anyway, so Danny, please continue with the story.
No, we were just talking about how cable is genuinely like really useless. And as a matter of fact, I looked at like the Notion and saw that this would be something we were gonna talk about. And I started like watching more cable videos. And I actually really don't like cable now. Like I watched it and it's like it really just is a scam. I like learned about why it's so expensive and everything. Like it's crazy. Like apparently like the like big companies, like the major channels people watch, they only allow for like, you know, the cable companies to have them on like their packages if they include or they also like buy a bunch of other like smaller like channels that they have. So that's why it's like so expensive. And like damn, that's like crazy. That's so much. And then, you know, with Selena, we were just talking about how like unbelievably useless it is too. Like it's so many channels that you don't watch when you can just have like Netflix or like Hulu or something.
Yeah, and if it's like comes down to like, oh, I only have cable for the news or like live TV, get Hulu live TV. It literally has the channels.
Yeah,
and
like
it has news
together.
like 24/7. So what are you missing on? Why are you paying that expensive bill when you can spend $14 a month to use Hulu?
Exactly. It just doesn't make any sense. Like cable just doesn't work out. It doesn't. Like it's not, cable should be eradicated, and that's my personal opinion. I really think cable is a bad thing. If I ever get hired by something that revolves around cable, I didn't say that. But cable
Yeah, that's what
kind of sucks. I have to like give that disclaimer out there. But just cable.
I know that's like, I gotta be careful about how much I should talk college now because
yeah, no, you know, I have to cover myself here, but I don't know, cable just kind of sucks. And like
It really does. Not even kinda.
Like it's like a bad purchase. Like just buy Hulu. It solves your problem. Chris, you're looking at me like I'm crazy right now.
So I hate to be that person, but we are about educational justice. So I'm gonna throw in a little bit of social justice here. this is gonna like really like make y'all mad because I'm about to destroy your argument. Getting cable or transitioning from cable to like Hulu and things like that require access to good quality electronics and also good quality internet, of which both things a lot of people cannot afford, especially in our inflation crisis right now. So in an ideal world where everybody was able to afford online streaming services, then this idea would be completely feasible. But especially if you live in California like all of us, it's really fucking not.
Well, yeah, no, I think that's what we said this whole time. Like, in an ideal world, yeah, like cable wouldn't even be a thing. But like, in an ideal world, Chris, you would like accept that the social media team is like the best team on here. So like, we really have to pick and choose our battles here.
It's not.
I hate to be that person, but I can't say anything.
What?
Okay, never mind. I can see things now. Slay. Cool.
Like, I hate to be that person.
Oh.
I hate to be that person, but
Oh Lord. I think what's actually kind of funny is that there is, I don't know, I feel like there's this current battle on our team of like which team is the best team.
and it's the social media team.
And the social
Yeah.
media team thinks that they're the best.
No,
we know we're the best.
Incorrect. It's
Excuse
subjective.
you, because what did you say like last meeting? When was that? Yesterday? What did you say?
I said, and this is like all the directors at other orgs, if you're listening to this episode, you'll know why I did this, is to cover my own ass. But I said that if I wasn't a director, the social media team is the best to hang around. But I said, as a director, I can't say that. That's what I said.
But did you remember what you said in that one breakout room when it was just Selena and I, and no one else was there? And you were like, don't tell the other teams, but you guys are the best team. Like, do you remember saying that? Because
I did not say that you guys were the best team. I said you guys were the best to hang around.
No, you didn't.
That's
Hang
what I
around did
said.
not come into play until yesterday.
So
But you never.
here's the thing. Here's the thing to keep in mind. You guys are the best of the other options available.
You could have ended
Wait, hold on. You could actually hold on. You're gonna want to let me finish. You were the best team.
Period.
After the podcast team. So you're the best number 2.
True.
But didn't
podcast
we
team
just
is number
give you
1.
a podcast idea for an episode?
Did we not just give
sorry.
you for a
I really want to. I'd love
dry,
to continue this conversation,
no idea.
but we have like 30 seconds left. So thank you so much for tuning into today's episode.
He really is trying to cut us
and I'm
off.
super excited.
We will be back.
We will, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
Bye, y'all.